China Sea. Now, South China Sea often does the rounds in the news. Why, you may ask? It is because of the way China is asserting herself as a hegemon in the South China Sea. Let us try to understand more on the South China Sea dispute. The South China Sea dispute involves territorial claims over islands and maritime areas. These areas are claimed by several sovereign states in Southeast Asia, which includes China, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan. The region is geopolitically significant. Why? Because of its strategic location, vast natural resources including oil and gas reserves, and major global shipping routes passing through it. The conflicting claims are primarily driven by economic, strategic, and nationalistic motivations, which makes the South China Sea a potential flashpoint for regional instability. Now let us try to understand the parties who are involved in the South China Sea and their claims. First, China. China claims the largest portion of the territory delineated by the 9-dash line. The 9-dash line refers to a demarcation line used by China to outline its claims over the vast majority of the South China Sea. This expensive claim overlaps with the exclusive economic zone claims of other countries like Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei. Philippines has significant claims in the area, particularly around the Spratly and Scarborough Shoal. Vietnam contests the Paracel and Spratly archipelagos. Malaysia and Brunei also claim areas that overlap with the 9-dash line. Now let us try to understand the role of United Nations Convention on Laws of the Sea and the Permanent Court Arbitration Judgment of 2016. The United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Sea, abbreviated as UNCLOS, is a key international treaty that is supposed to govern maritime disputes by defining the rights and responsibilities of nations with respect to the use of the world's oceans. Disputes are often adjudicated by the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which sits in The Hague. In July 2016, the PCA issued a landmark judgment on a case which was brought by Philippines against China in PCA. The tribunal ruled that China's claim to historic rights over the waters within the 9-dash line has no legal basis and invalidated the claims of China. The PCA's ruling was binding but lacked a mechanism for enforcement. China rejected the tribunal's decision, declaring it null and void, and has since continued its activities in the disputed waters. Now, let us also try to understand India's involvement in the South China Sea dispute. India is not a direct claimant in the South China Sea dispute, but India has significant strategic and economic interests. India's approach to the South China Sea has undergone a noticeable changes in recent years. India has started to become more and more assertive and involved. And this reflects broader shifts in its foreign policy and strategic priorities. And this shift is driven by several factors, including increasing Chinese assertiveness in the region, India's growing economic and strategic interest in the Southeast Asia, and the overall broader global geopolitical dynamics. India's approach towards South China Sea is a response to China's growing assertion in the Indian Ocean region. China's increasing presence in the Indian Ocean region presents several sector implications for India, and this is marked by the expansion of naval capabilities and strategic maritime access. China has established its first overseas military base in Djibouti, and this base provides China with crucial foothold along one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Furthermore, China's involvement in port development projects in strategic locations, for example, China has constructed Gwadar port in Pakistan, Hambantota port in Sri Lanka, a port in Myanmar, and this all has been constructed under the Belt and Road Initiative of China, which India sees as part of China's string of pearls strategy. India claims that this string of pearls strategy intends to encircle India and project power across the Indian Ocean region. Now, this growing Chinese network of maritime assets enables China to enhance its power projection capabilities. It also poses challenge to India's traditional sphere of influence and its strategic interest in ensuring freedom of navigation and security in the region. Additionally, the increasing presence of Chinese submarines and naval vessels in the Indian Ocean heightens the strategic competition and raises concerns over potential surveillance and military escalation. Now, in response to China's actions in the Indian Ocean, India is actively countering China in South China Sea through a variety of strategic, military and diplomatic measures. For example, India has strengthened partnership with ASEAN countries. For example, ASEAN is a bloc of countries of Southeast Asia, which includes Philippines, Malaysia and other regional pairs. India is doing so through India's Act East policy, thereby enhancing cooperation in defense and security matters with the Southeast Asian countries. Also, India is trying to increase her naval presence by conducting freedom of navigation operations and joint exercises with allies such as US, Japan, Australia to signal India's commitment to maintaining a rules-based international order. India is also participating in multinational naval exercises like Malabar with Quad nations, which includes India, Japan, Australia and US. It emphasizes collaborative security efforts in the region. Now, India, through initiatives like the Supply Chain Resilience Initiative, India is collaborating with Japan and Australia to decrease dependency on Chinese supply chains, indirectly affecting China's economic assertiveness. Also, India continues to engage in oil and gas exploration activities in Vietnam's exclusive economic zone, supporting Vietnam's rights under UNCLOS despite Chinese objections. Thereby, India is affirming its stand on lawful economic activities in international waters. Now, these actions reflect India's broader strategy to not only secure its interests in the South China Sea, but also counterbalance China's strategic maneuvers in the Indian Ocean region. So, in a nutshell, South China Sea dispute remains one of the most complex geopolitical challenges in Southeast Asia. The PCA, that is Permanent Court Arbitration ruling in 2016, while clear in its findings, has not resolved the conflict. Why? Because of Chinese rejection of the tribunal's jurisdiction and its decision. Meanwhile, the involvement of extra powers like India highlights the broader implications of the dispute for regional security and global maritime order. India's stance, promoting freedom of navigation and respect for international law, reflects its broader strategy to maintain a stable balance of power in the region. The stance of India also showcases India's dedication to upholding the rules-based international system, which is crucial for its own economic and security interests. For more such interesting updates, stay tuned to Narayana.